Hey, hey, hey.
How's it going?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Zing and pep, zing and pep. We've got to go fast, quick, upbeat tempo. We got to talk like radio.
All
Oh,
right.
welcome to 202 Radio 1. This is the Big M, and I'm with Bonesy.
Like a
Yeah,
BBC Radio 4 interview documentary type radio station. And you know the pace of that radio station, don't you? It's not quick, it's really slow. So the
yeah.
over 80s can understand it. Today, we're going to talk about inequality in politics. And it's
Yeah.
just
No,
really
we need
slow.
radio. We need more Radio 1, I think. We need a bit more, yeah. Yeah, we're talking to we're talking to Joseph Fritzl. Oh, what about the basement? Yeah. Oh.
Jesus.
Jesus.
Cancel
All right,
culture
straight
is
into
going to kick off with that.
it. Mino Riola, is he dead or what? Come on, straight on. What, League One? Championship? Here we go.
No comment. No comment. Yeah. Yeah.
I think you tried to wish it into reality, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I mean, why not? I mean, the guy's,
No comment.
he's just a fraud. He's the biggest con artist in football. Like, why is somebody allowed to dwindle? You know, when you consider how many clubs have struggled to, you know, you're a prime example. You support a club that was struggling to gather £2 million. This is a man that can make £5 million off one transaction transfer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why is that fair? You know,
No.
what's more fair? Is it more fair to represent, you know, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, 12,000 fans that go and follow Wigan every week? Or is it more fair to represent one fat man who just leeches out of clubs? You know, that's my opinion on that. That's why I don't care. Because
you know, he's that much of a fraud. He's kind of frauded his own death, but everyone thought he was dead. Everyone was celebrating in the streets.
Mate, honestly,
I can guarantee there was a bit of a glimmer in like CEOs of City, United. I bet there was a bit of like, but like, you know, I bet there was a little bit of that. Like, oh yeah.
Well, United kind of took the standpoint to wash their hands with him, which might actually be the only decent thing they've actually done recently. But for City, in terms of Haaland, obviously that's a bit different. But yeah, no, it just. But the comments, oh my God, did you go on the tweet? What he tweeted? Honestly, that tweet came out and people were just like, wish you were dead. Like, you know, why are you still here? My God.
It's pretty brutal. I saw one which I've seen a few of them, you know, like resurrection things. It's just like when Riola realizes that he can make an extra 30 million on the Haaland deal and he just sits back up. It's Before, I think this episode is going to be a lot more about the Football League, but before that, I thought the only thing kind of interesting in the Premier League, because it's still about 5 games to go in the Premier League, so I think the interesting thing outside of football is you had another protest at Old Trafford. Wondering if you went to it again, how did it go with the one you went to the other week? Because we missed last week because we were both busy, so...
admittedly, yes, the one I went last week was good. I didn't go to the one last night because it just with work commitments, it's hard, you know, midweek. The one I went to last time, obviously, I was off, so it was quite straightforward. I could go. And you know, the first one was really good. You know, I think what's nice, it's just set up by like-minded individuals. You know, people that want the same end. People, you still see people on your social accounts saying like, "Oh yeah, you spent loads of money. Why are you protesting?" You know, I mean, we really do live in an age where people are really that thick. You know, if you spend 80 million on somebody who's worth 10, then you're not going to be happy with it, are you? You know, so that's, you know, but look, it's not all about transfers. It's about the way the clubs run. You know, you've got to remember in the same time that Manchester City had £1.2 billion invested in them, Manchester United had £1 billion taken out of the club. You know, United's debt now is, I think it's pushing 600 million. If that was any other club, if that was especially a league club or a non-league club, you know, you look at they'd be under liquidation and folding. But because Premier League teams get this buy against it, which is a disgrace, isn't it, really? You know, when Premier League teams get this buy against it, it's all right, it's fine, they'll find a way, it's no problem, it's okay. You know, I just think of Berry. You know, Berry's such a good such a good club, local, good people, that really, really good club, and it just, and it's an insult to clubs like Bury, really, that United can do stuff like that. And granted, this isn't United fans. This is the ownership model of football clubs in the Premier League, which, seeing as you bring the point up, I did get an email the other day from the petition from the government to say that they are kind of analysing and reviewing the option to do a 50+1 fan ownership scheme in football, which I think is compulsory. I think it's absolutely compulsory. And I feel like, say like Wigan, for example, with Wigan's owner, I think he'd be quite willing to do it.
Yeah,
he generally wants what's best for the club. Whereas you look at someone like the Glazers, for example, they'd be like, hang on a minute, no, we bought this club, you owe us money, kind of thing. Which is great, because anything that pisses them off is perfect. So
it's
I'm
fucking
all for it.
I've seen a bit of a spin. Do you think the media, maybe like the Sky Sports, I feel like there's a bit of an agenda getting pushed where they're kind of making you, because obviously I know you're on the side of the protest, but obviously there's a lot of fans who are kind of like, no, they're kind of like undermining the protest. And I see a lot where it's like, I thought Ronaldo's the problem, but it's like, no, that's not what the protest is about. It's not like they're saying, stop spending money on players like Ronaldo. It's like, I think the protest is more against them taking the money out of the club and turning the club into this kind of Americanized, like, let's buy these names rather than actually making a football club strong.
Yes, no, I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly the point. It's like your fan cammers and your typical day trippers would have you signing all these marquee signings, and that's why they're annoyed, because United have put a bid in for Messi or Haaland. That's not what United fans that go up home and away want all the time.
Yeah, this is such a divide. I think we talk about it all the time, but it's such a massive
this
divide.
Isn't what we want. Do you know what? Quite frankly, I'd be quite happy if we didn't sign someone recognised ever, for the foreseeable future. If United actually commit to signing players under the age of 23 with the right attributes that it could bring into the squad and develop, granted, maybe a couple of experienced names alongside, but then the majority of 90% of their signings were based on under 23s who were, meet the philosophy of the club, especially now the Ten Hag announcement's been announced. So meet the Ten Hag's philosophy, then God, I'd 100% prefer that than United have put a £120 million bid in for Haaland. I'll tell you one thing: there's only two players that go over 80 million for right now, and that is Haaland and Bellingham. Honestly, there's no player, not one player in the world right now I would go over 80 million for, apart from them two.
Well, you know why? It's no coincidence that Dortmund kind of have the philosophy that you're talking about there. Now they have two of the best young players around. They have that Gio Reyna. They have all sorts of world-class young talents. And it's like, they're just doing... How does no Premier League club see the philosophy in just signing...
It's crazy,
everyone knows it.
I mean, to be fair, I know you say no Premier League clubs. I mean, you've got to give credit to Southampton. They've definitely seen potential and brought through. Granted, James Ward-Prowse. Oh my God! I mean, have you ever seen somebody take a free kick like James Ward-Prowse?
No,
honestly, I'm saying that when I've seen Beckham and I've seen, we've all seen Ronaldinho and Telly and stuff like that. I mean, am I saying he's better than Ronaldinho? No, let's draw that line right there now.
What? Jonesy, calm down. You just say James Ward-Prowse isn't better than Ronaldinho. That is the worst thing I've ever heard.
But no, what I'm saying is just in terms of free kick, have you seen his conversion rate for his free kicks?
That is great.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Well, whilst we're on that subject, would you take him for the World Cup?
Would I? It depends who you would drop, to be honest, because I always get that horrible feeling that Southgate wants to bring Eric Dyer back to England. I'm just like, nah, mate, come on. You don't need to do that. It depends who he drops. I think there's been some questionable midfield. But for me, the midfield, again, I know I'm fanboying a lot, but Bellingham has to start in that midfield for me.
Does he?
Just he's a commander. He's a teenager, and he's a commander as a teenager. Yeah. I don't actually know a central midfielder, like a box-to-box central midfielder, quite like him, where he just... He's up and down. He goes mad at players. I think he speaks German now already. He's not even been there long.
He's unbelievable.
He's just. But you can see he's got good relationships with all the players. He's not one of these players that puts a set of bleeding pink boots on and thinks he's the big I am. He's just a genuine old school midfielder. He's so good. Right, he's genuinely amazing. So I would start him in midfield, and again, opinions are opinions, and I might be called delusional for that. But no, I'd say. But taking James Ward-Prowse, do you know what? I would take him.
You'd expect him to score at least 1 or 2 free kicks, wouldn't you, across the tournament?
Imagine just do you know what you could do though? It's like, even if you, let's say you played, I don't know, someone who would get battered by Belgium. England just seems to get beaten by Belgium quite a lot in recent times.
Well, they are managed by one of the greatest managers of all time, so...
But just if you were sat back and you told your players to go deep and then just counter-attack with a free kick, Ward-Prowse, bang, there you go, game over. It just... Yeah, potentially. It depends on your limitations and what formations you're going to play. Granted, I've always quite liked England with the back five, with the flying wing-backs. Kyle Walker, for his energy levels, are just incredible. Left back, I'm not going to talk about Luke Shaw because he's a disgrace, but there's other options. So
there's a lot actually. There's quite a lot of options, but I feel like I dragged you away from the point we were making about the protest.
The point being the protest. Yeah, so the one I did was Norwich at home, and that was good. Granted, it did gain some media traction, but because it wasn't a live televised event, it didn't get as much as probably we wanted.
Did you? Again, I was talking about the media kind of spinning it a bit. Did we hear the way the Sky Sports kind of commented on the one? Was it the 16th, 17th minute that you came and they knew what was going on, and then Martin Tyler just kind of going maybe they just didn't know what time kickoff was, and they were just undermining the protest so much. It's they're so laced in the Glazers' pocket, Sky, it's unbelievable. The way he said it, I was just you dick, you know exactly what's going on, and he's just acting maybe they just didn't know what time kickoff was. I was shut up, man, you know exactly what's going on.
You know what's worse about that though, don't you? Gary Neville's sat right next to him.
Yeah, he didn't really call. Yeah, he didn't call him up on it.
Accounts on Twitter. He speaks to these people that actually organise these things, on Twitter.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? That's the worst part. Oh yeah, I don't really know what's going on. What do you mean you don't know what's going on? You've seen it plastered all over.
Gary was kind of he were giving it. Yeah, he were giving it. But for me, if when Martin Tyler was saying that kind of shit, I'd have been just really calling him out. I'd be so passionate. If it were my club, I'd be no, just fuck off. We know exactly, you know what I mean? He didn't really stop him like that. But I feel if it's his job as well, though, what is he supposed to do, really? But it's a tough one for him. But I feel United at the minute, it's the weirdest club in the world, man. I really think I know you don't want it to be, and I don't think anyone in England want United to become this American franchise, but I think you're heading that way, because I feel in America, I don't know if you know this, but it was my mate who told me, because I only got into basketball a few years ago. And when I started following that, he said people in NBA fans, they follow one player a lot of the time rather than following a club. Yeah. Because I started following the Sixers, and then I was just I just follow the Sixers now that I've chose them, my name out of a hat kind of thing. I've chose them, they're the team I'm going to support. He said, not people don't do that. They just choose one player, and in the NBA, because they trade, they move clubs a lot, so they just follow them around to all clubs. Yeah. I'm starting to get the vibes that a lot of them fans are just there for Ronaldo now. They're not even there to watch United. Yeah, they're just literally there to watch Ronaldo. It's crazy.
It's almost as if supporting a club is the wrong idea, and then just going to appreciate a game is more of an idea. Granted, there's not a problem with the latter. I speak for both of us when I said I've gone to other football games from neither team that I support and enjoyed a football game. I've watched it from a neutral perspective. Of course you do. Do you know what I mean? I think we're all guilty of it. But at the same time, it's this whole player idea, you're absolutely spot on. I think that's one of the reasons Paul Pogba's stayed at United for so long, because it's just been a commercial side of it. You see it on Twitter, he gets a fresh haircut and everyone's buzzing about it. Like,
it's true,
actual fans of the club who actually want to see the club do well will get beaten 1-0 at home by Fulham, but it's all right because Paul Pogba's got a new haircut, so it's sweet.
Well, before we move on to the Football League, you got to tell everyone about your new favourite account I've seen on Twitter recently.
Yeah, man. What is it? It's that Saeed parody account, isn't it? Did you read through the tweets, by the way?
Yeah, it's hilarious. Some of them are absolutely hilarious.
For people that don't know, so one of the fan cam lads, effectively, United did a protest and he wanted one in his own name. Now, let's be clear, he didn't say it, he wanted it in his own name, but you could quite evidently see the fact that what he wanted to be the big I am and organise it himself, quite clearly. I think about 15 people turned up, majority of them were kids, so that tells you all you need to know about that. But then this parody account came up of him as well, and all these bot accounts, all these accounts are less than 20 followers that were set up 1 or 2 months ago, all started replying saying, "Take it down, it's really rude, why being racist," stuff like that, just coming out with generally. Bear in mind, none of such was discussed at all, because that would be bad. But
even if it was, now Elon Musk's in charge. It's you're gonna get nowhere now.
Oh, don't. That I tell you what, that might be a podcast for another day, and I've got too much moaning to do about that. But anyway, the best part, though, one of the Twitter accounts, this is again another account that was set up a couple of months ago with a few followers. I can't remember the exact words, but he threatened legal proceedings against this parody account because he'd taken the name.
Well, the parody account, from what I've gathered, the parody account just kind of posts stuff that Saeed himself would post. Is that right? Or kind of rips on it a bit.
Well, let's have it right. They do take the piss out of him. So, it's up to you whether you think that's okay or not okay.
Oh, I think it's massively okay. Big props to the Saeed parody account. This episode is brought to you by the Saeed parody account.
So anyway, the best part about it was, though, honestly, I can't tell you how funny this was. So one of these accounts threatened legal proceedings against this parody account. Turns out the name, this Saeed TV name, isn't registered. So this parody account set up a GoFundMe page to actually get that name registered. So the actual man himself on his account would have to change his name. Within 2 hours, they'd accumulated them funds.
Absolutely brilliant. And I think this is the kind of thing. I think this is the kind of war that's going on inside the United Twitter space. I see it. Obviously, I follow quite a lot of United fans. I've got a lot of friends who are United fans, so I see all of it. But it just seems this weird divide where it's just the actual fans who go to the games fighting against all these fan cams, and it's the protest. You can see the ones who go to the games, they turn up for the protest, and the process is thousands. It's impressive. And then, like you said, that Saeed, I saw the picture of it. It's like a puddle of little teenagers, you know what I mean? Yeah. They've just been grouped together by Prince Andrew or something.
It's him. Jesus, we're gonna get cancelled. Anyway,
no, not under Elon. Elon's got our back. Your best mate.
I can say what we want now. Elon's boss. So we can say what we want. But not one of the. I was going to say then, this is a big statement, by the way, but dramatic pause effect at the end. But I actually hate these fan cammers and people that. Bear in mind, the reason I hate them is because their opinions are so flamboyant. I'm sure as a person, I'm sure they're fine, but their opinions are so flamboyant that I actually hate them more than City fans. Because I've got more in common with a fan that goes to games and just watches games, and living around here, you know it as well as I do. We, City have been in lower league football, so I can speak to lads that went to Main Road and stuff like that, and talk about that, and still, good times for them. as well as we had good times. So I've got more in common with a match-going fan than I do these people, because they'll video themselves. That's another one about this guy, right? He videos himself like being sad at a football game. Why would you do that?
Strange.
Why would you do? That is one of the strangest things.
Yeah, honestly. I need some psychiatrists to look into this. Like, honestly, if you're a qualified psychiatrist, please diagnose all these fan cams, because there's something not right with them.
Do you know what? I worry about it getting worse, and I think it's getting worse and worse. I think the situation is deteriorating, and they're just. The more flamboyant their opinion is, the more shit they talk, the more followers they get. They generally, and then what's worse is they actually set up all. If you look at some of these fancam accounts, maybe barring a couple of them, the big names in fancam, fair enough. I think people follow them genuinely. But if you look at some of these upcomers, I know there's one called Flex, and he does one I think it's United TV or something like that. I think he said he had 170,000 Twitter followers. You go through them followers, look how many of them are actually genuine accounts.
Yeah,
there's not many.
Well, I told you, I was talking to you about this account that I run for this podcast, and we don't get many listeners at all, but I can have a shitload of followers because I just follow a load of people and they follow me back. It's a weird, it's a weird Twitter space where you go to and it's just follow me and I'll follow you back. And if I didn't have to try and get this podcast out there, there's no way on earth I'd do that. But what I imagine all these fan cams do is they do that on a massive scale. They pay for followers. They get all these bots following them. And then they unfollow shitloads and then they end up looking good. You know what I mean?
I think it's that theory where your phone listens to you, so it gives you sponsored ads. I get them coming up in my sponsored ads all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do as well. There's some kind of celebrity at the minute who keeps getting sponsored. Like a radio DJ keeps coming up on mine like a sponsored ad and that's so random. But we'll move on. We'll go to the Football League because the Premier League's not close to finishing yet. There's a good 5 games yet. But
by
the
the way,
Football League is coming into a great
my
ending.
My theory on this is the Premier League's covered way too much. So what's the point of talking about it? There's generally no point. Whereas if you go to your Championship, League One, League Two and National League, it's not talked about enough. Yeah. So I'm all for just scrapping talking about the Premier League completely.
I think for me though, you know what it is, and I know, and I'll give you a shout out to. He asked me for this. He said, "Oh, you should shout me out." I was like, "Right, we'll give a shout out for Joey. He's probably one of our biggest listeners, and we'll give a shout out for Ross. He's also one of our biggest listeners, right?" But he was saying that he enjoys listening to your rants. So if I don't bring up the Premier League, right, I'm not going to get him listening to your rants. So that's not there. So
just give me a topic and I'll rant about it. If you want to do a podcast at some time where I just rant about random shit that you bring up, let's do it. I will find something that will piss me off about that. I promise you, there's something about everything that's got to annoy me.
You know what's been annoying me? Right? And I tell you what, I've been watching a lot of serial killer documentaries a minute, right? Ed Kemper was 6'9", IQ of 145, right? He killed 10 people. That has got to be the shittest performance anyone's ever done. I mean, if you're a serial killer and you're that big and you're that clever to get away with it and you can only manage 10, like Ted Bundy was racking up 50, 60 and he was 5'5".
Yeah, but it depends on how you measure it. I'm going to sound like a right sicko here, but you're talking about quantity. What about quality of the kill? What if
No, because I'm pretty sure he really shit murders as well. I think he was the usual sodomized him and blah blah. But everyone back in the 70s was sodomizing each other and murdering each other.
Do you know that though? Because what if one of his kills was a grenade in a whoopee cushion? I mean, you'd have to give him credit for that one.
No. From what I can gather, because of the size of him, they would normally strangle because his hands were the size of people's faces, so he just put his hand over the face, kind of thing.
We're getting cancelled for conversations like this. There's no way.
He just popped in my head the other day. You know what it is? It's because I'm close enough isolating. I've got 3 days left now where I'm going to be out and about, and then all I'm going to do after then is work and then home and isolate because I go Disney in 3 weeks. So at the minute, I've just been staying in as much as I can to save money, and I've been watching serial killer documentaries. And Ed Kemper let me down big time, man. I thought, when he gets near the end of the show, I thought, oh, fuck, they're going to uncover it. He's got 70 bodies. 10. I was disappointed big time, man. Very disappointing.
That's the most footballing insight we're going to get on this podcast. Talk about killing people and then glorifying it. I mean, that's just pissed. That's really pissed.
Hey, you're the one who wanted Raiola dead at the start of this episode, so don't have a go at me.
I didn't say it in those words. I just said I wished him a speedy death, may rot in piss. They were my words. Like, I did not say anything.
Well, I'm saying, if you do want someone to kill him, right, don't choose Ed Kemper. I'd personally choose who's still alive. Actually, most of them are dead now. But you know, it's a weird thing. All of these documentaries are all based in like 1975. Like, what the fuck was going on that year? Like, what was going on? Why is every world-renowned, well-known serial killer from either 1970 or 1975? It's fucking mental.
Yeah. Conspiracy theory.
I've seen a few things what give me ideas of what was going on, but that's definitely for another day.
Honestly, I'm not turning into one of these. We're not doing it. I just refuse.
I know, right? Here's a theory for you, right?
Oh, God.
No, here we go. No, you're going to like this. I think Millwall are going to sneak into the Championship playoffs.
All right, okay, right. Well, actually, before you get to that point, I think we should start from the National League and work our way up.
Work our way up?
Yeah. Or do you want to work our way down?
I was going to work our way down because I was looking before, and I tell you what, you know what? I might miss out National League and save that for a bit later because they've got about 6 games to go as well, you know, 5-6 games.
Yeah, but it's a summary of where we're at. Like, so, yeah, it's fine. It's just a summary of where we're at.
Right, good. No, you kick us off with National League, then we'll go National League and work our way up.
Right, okay, right. So I'll start this one. First and foremost, commiserations to Dover, who, after a massive points deduction, are currently on 0 points after 40 games. That's brutal. 2 wins all season and a minus 61 goal difference after conceding in 40 games a whopping 95 goals. That is awful. I mean, imagine watching that season. I seem to remember Droylsden doing a similar season, actually. I think Droylsden finished like 7 points in the National League and just got spanked and relegated. So that's unfortunate.
Well, I'm looking at the form guide. They did win. Who did they beat? Imagine getting beat by Dover this season.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? You'd be surprised, actually. Boreham Wood.
Boreham? Oh, what is going on there? That is
you would have thought you would have took one of them teams like Kingswin or Weymouth, Wealdstone, Woking maybe, like someone that's been in and about, National or South or North League, but Boreham Wood, very strange.
Like raise a glass to Dover fans because fair fucking dicks. If you've been watching them, like going home, away, whenever, and watching the team, and it was one of them. I love when I hear that from football fans chanting away fans, and they're just having a mint time anyway, and they're just chanting shit like "How shit must you be? We're winning away." I love them kind of chants. I just think that shows how good football is.
You know my thoughts on that. Just one of them generic chants is just shite, and you need to make up your own. Like, honestly, it's boring. It's so boring. I remember last night what were Chelsea chanting against United last night? Just like your city is blue.
Blue, yeah, just like London, your city is blue. Yeah, that was
fucking grow up. Like, what a 12-year-old chant that is. Like, honestly, people are gonna think I'm rattled. I'm actually not. It's just the fact that it's just boring, innit? Like,
not for Dover fans. Mate, what else do you want Dover fans to do this season? Dover fans have got nothing else. Don't take that off them.
Oh, right. Well, no, sorry. I'm on about Chelsea here. As far as Dover concerned, you can do what you want. You've had the shittest season. Like, one of the shittest seasons ever. Literally. Do you know what's funny about this? I remember when Dave Moyes took charge of United, and that was one of the shittest seasons. I have to say it's one of my most fun. I've never been so pissed in all my life. So if you've been Dover home and away and you've been getting banged on it, fair play to you. I owe you a pint.
It's crazy. Do you know what happened there? Really, I don't really.
I don't know. I'd love to hear about it though. I'd love to hear that story because the thing is, they had a big points deduction and they've only won 2 games as well all season. Oh yeah, so they were deducted 12 points. So it's not even like they've been deducted that many. So
There must be a
theoretically, they would
reason.
actually currently be on 12 points. So they've
Yeah.
still had an awful season.
But why though? They must be. Have they had to play kids all season, or?
Well, we'd have to ask one of them. You'll have to follow one of them and ask them. We need insight.
Imagine follow the manager and just be like, why are you so shit?
Well, in no uncertain terms, yeah. But what we need to do is ask somebody that knows why Dover in this position. Because it could be a poor ownership model. I'm not saying it is, but it could be a poor ownership model.
I'm trying my best to do a little. I'm doing a bit of research here to see what the crack is. Well, the first player I clicked on was 20. They've only got a few you can click on. Or then a few loans. Yeah, a few 20-year-olds in the ranks. So maybe it's like admin, because that's what you get, don't you? -12 for admin. So I'm assuming it's admin. And then,
but again, going back to the start of this conversation, is it fair? For a club like Dover to have points deducted, being administration for being in a small amount of debt, when a football agent can go and leech a club for 10 million off one transfer.
No.
Right. Well, there's my point. Then that's exactly my point. So, no one's going to find that fat knobhead money for leeching out of clubs, and so it just rattles me.
I really can't find anything about Dover. Oh, well, let's move on from Dover. They've had a terrible time.
We're going to go back into a 9-hour podcast. So we're not doing that. So anyway, poor Dover. If you know about the situation, let us know. Please tell us. I'm desperate to know.
The relegation battle there is near enough done, really.
Theoretically, there's not much.
They've got 3 games. Kings Lynn need to win all 3, and Aldershot need to lose all of their remaining 4. There's only 44 games in this, because did someone get booted out of the league? Why is there only 23 teams? That seems so random.
That is, isn't it? Again, what the hell? What happened there? Why we're meant to be doing football commentaries, and we're just shit at this. We don't know why Dover had points deducted. We don't know why there's only 23 teams in the league.
Why is there only 20? I was thinking then maybe Bury, but there's no way Bury were in the national when they got relegated. Kicked out of football league, wasn't it? Macclesfield got kicked out of football league, didn't it?
Yeah, well, again, prime example. Is it fair for a club like Macclesfield to get demoted 17 times, or is it okay for football agents to make 600 million? You tell me. No, that's exactly. So moving on from Dover, if you know about that though, please get in contact on Twitter. No, I can't see Kingsland pulling that round, and I just look at Aldershot though. Aldershot were a league club not too long ago. Again, look at the demand. And this again is all these clubs, they go, you see them peak and trough. Stockport is a prime example. League One, competing for the playoffs, blitzed down to Van Riemann National North. And then investment gradually getting better, getting a bit carried away now because they're offering salaries that are a bit lunacy. But if they can afford it, okay. If not,
we might as well flip it now. Whilst you're on them, they are now currently top of the table by 4 points. Fancy them to go up? I really would do at this point.
I don't think it's any doubt about them going up for me. I think the question really is who gets the automatics out of Stockport and Wrexham. They're both clearly better. Do you know what though?
Oh, these 3 go up, don't they? In the National League, don't they?
I thought it was 2. I thought it was 1 automatic and 1 playoff.
I'm pretty sure it's 2.
No.
I'm sure it's one of them leagues where one goes up champions, 1 goes up second, and third. No, 4 go up. I'm sure 4 go up. Do we know anything?
That's League 1. League 2 is 2.
But I think something changed because Macclesfield got kicked out. I'm sure they were trying to rejig the whole leagues.
Do we know anything? Do we actually know anything? We know fuck all. We
definitely should. Well, either way, at the minute, I think it's. No, yeah, it's 3 go up automatically, and then 4 play out in the playoffs.
That's definitely, that can't be right.
I'm sure it is.
That must have changed this season because it definitely wasn't.
Let me just. I mean,
Just
have a little
Google it, man. You said you were clicking things before. Just Google it. Like, you clearly, such top quality sporting insight, which is ready for live national television, where you clicking things.
You know what's funny? We were talking whilst we was like, midweek, and I was saying that after I come back from Disney, we'll start taking this a lot more serious, and that this kind of comes into that.
You've always got to bring up murder or something that's at least a 25 stretch in prison. Why?
Oh right, yeah. There has been changes. This yeah, right. After Macclesfield were expelled, only one team will be relegated from National Leagues North and South. Yeah, and 4 teams promoted from the National League this season. Yeah, 4 teams. It's to bring it back up to 24 because Macclesfield got expelled. To get it back up to 24, 4 go up. Only probably 2 go down, I imagine, and more come up.
Is that League 2 or the National League?
National League, yeah. From the National League, 4 go up this season.
Wow.
And then only 3 go down. I don't know how it works, but that's what they're saying anyway, and I'm going to trust them. So, yeah, I was right. And I know it sounds mental, but, the only reason I was guessing that is because I'm on the BBC website, and it's got the little lines to see where, and there was like 3 lines, so I was like, well, surely them 3 must go up.
I'm sure there's people watching this thinking because they're such a trustworthy broadcaster, but yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so yeah. So the battle at the minute is Stockport and Wrexham for the title. Wrexham and Halifax, Wrexham definitely probably go up.
Hang on, just before you go any further, how good a season is that for Halifax, by the way?
Oh yeah, incredible. Out of the top 3, them 3, they're the ones for me. They're the ones doing it properly. Anyway, do you know what I mean?
The funny thing, they've won 23 games this season. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, granted, their form's a bit iffy, but the fact that they're in the playoffs and they're in contention.
No, they're not. They're not in the playoffs. They're in the autos. They're in this extended autos at the minute.
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah, sorry. Well, they are.
It's confusing.
But I tell you what, that's where the next interesting part comes into this, isn't it? Because obviously there's 2 points between them and Solihull. Do want to see Solihull in the League 2. I mean, you look at the teams that are around them: Notts County, Chesterfield, Grimsby. I'd rather one of them get it, just given their, their fan base, their structure, given what they've been through in recent seasons. Grimsby had a torrid time, didn't they? They had a terrible time. To be honest, all 3 of them had had some form of just pure neglect in recent years. Grimsby, Chesterfield, Notts County, all 3 of those teams. Easily, arguably, league club teams. There's no doubt about it. Why they've lingered there again. Financial issues. Notts County is probably one of the most famous financial cock-ups of history in regards to signing Sol Campbell and Sven-Goran Eriksson.
I'm sure we brought that up last week.
We probably did. Yeah, I think we did actually. Well, I say no, it would have been 2 weeks ago, but yeah, no, but that's when everybody seems to remember, isn't it?
On a personal note, I personally would want Chesterfield to go because Paul Cook's gone there and he's had a bit of a mess. He's not done as well, anywhere near as well as I thought he would. Obviously, he had us in the Championship. He did well with us in the Championship, and he's at Chesterfield now and really, really struggling they were 3rd when they sacked their manager, and now they're 6th with Paul Cook, which I find bizarre. But I would like to see him come up because a lot of our fans are on the fence and saying, he could have just stayed with us and blah, blah, blah. But I'm one of them where I think everything kind of happens for a reason. Now we've got Liam in charge, and Liam clearly was the mastermind behind it all. And for me, I think Paul Cook had to leave because probably on his wage and blah, blah, and then he just got so unlucky at Ipswich where their whole season's been a bit of a mess, and then he's ended up just in Chesterfield. And I think, I thought that's such a brave choice to make, and it's just backfiring a little bit at the minute. Yeah. So it's a hard one to recover, isn't it? If he doesn't get them up this season, then he's going to have a bit of a mark next to his name.
I think it is worth saying as well, Grimsby actually beat Chesterfield 4-1. Couple of weeks ago as well, so if I had to pick, obviously playoffs wise, I can't imagine Grimsby getting automatic, but if they did, fair play. If not, I'd fancy Grimsby to actually do it and go up via playoffs.
Right, yeah. So if we start there, then
On.
if we start there, then right, we choose one for playoffs, one for autos, and well, two for autos in this situation, and then one for the champions. So I'll say Chesterfield, Halifax, Halifax, Wrexham, and then I'd go for Stockport County.
You need to state which ones you're picking. So,
right,
so
Stockport County for the title.
Who's winning the league?
Stockport County. I think I like Wrexham, and I really like. One of my favorite TV shows is Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's one of the reasons I even supported the Sixers, and I really like Rob McElhenney, whatever he's called, and him and Ryan Reynolds buying Wrexham. They seem to have done a great job. They're taking it serious, which is good to see. Do you know what I mean? They're not pissing around it. I always thought it was a kind of a joke to them maybe at one point, but they're taking it super serious. They're doing a lot for the fans. The fans seem to love them. Fair play. I'm glad they're coming up.
I think you imagine supporting that club. You just did the vibes. You just want to be a part of it, wouldn't you?
Have you seen the pictures of just Ryan Reynolds just in the crowd? It's fucking.
I know it's mint, just chilling in the stand. It's mint. I think that as well. It's look at the crowds that's turning out as well. All the fans are going. The atmosphere is brilliant. The football's arguably good as well. Obviously, they've signed some marquee signings for that league, no doubt about it. But Stockport and Wrexham have got that thing. They are big clubs. They get plenty of fans.
I'd say Stockport. That 4-point gap, and they've got a game in hand. I'd fancy them to win the title. So champions Stockport, Wrexham to come up. I like them. Yeah. But then the tough one, Halifax. I'd love Halifax to come up. But having a little look and thinking back.
Yeah, what I was going to say was, and I agree with what you just said about Halifax, I'll come back to that, but just pick your title winner, who goes up with them, who wins the playoff. Keep it sweet, because we're going to spend too much time.
The Stockport title, right? So Stockport for title, Wrexham second going up, and I do think Solihull. I think Solihull are going to pip Halifax. I remember Wigan played against Solihull, and they were a good, decent side. They didn't play amazing football, but they were a tough side to beat.
You know why, don't you? Kyle Woodwin.
The fucking monster. Hey, he's played fucking one game this season. Here we go. Let's do some scouting on Kyle.
Kyle Woodwin.
17-hour episode.
For those people that are listening that don't know who Kyle Woodwin is, Kyle Woodwin is a 6'9" striker that doesn't get a game for Solihull that was scouted by City at one point.
I've watched him in real life, and he was awful. In one word, he was pretty.
It's harsh to say he's awful given his age. He's really young, so
Well, he did score a few. I remember when we played him, thinking I hope he doesn't come on. I was surprised he didn't start. I thought he was the main man for them. I thought blah blah blah. He's only scored 3 this season, and I can see why he was so poor when he came on. But he did score a few last season. I think he scored 13 or something last season or something like that. But when he just didn't have it. Whatever it is, he didn't have it. The height was a good thing. Don't get me wrong, it caused a few issues, but he just didn't have it at all. FM legend though, your top goal scorer, weren't he?
I did a Wigan save, and I just basically made what I call just a tall formation. So all the team, barring I think Stephen Humphries, had to be a minimum height of 6'3". In every position, even fullbacks. And basically, the idea was just to get Maurizio Pochettino as well. He was the other exemption on the wing. But the idea was just to play it to the wingers and then just cross it into Hudwin. And he just scored headers all the time. Nobody could beat him from reach. Do you know what made me laugh about that? I don't know if FM players will relate to this. His pace was 10 of each, acceleration 10, pace 10. He was rapid. He was 20. It's so weird. I didn't.
Yeah, it's a bit of a glitch that sometimes. Sometimes it moves a lot quicker. So Solihull to pip Halifax and then Chesterfield to win the playoffs. Do you want to do yours?
Stockport to win the league. Wrexham to go with playoff winner. I'm going to stick with Grimsby. But Halifax, it has to be mentioned. I mean, if they came up, that'd be amazing. That's such a good
would you fancy third? You didn't say third because Halifax and Solihull. Who'd you fancy out them to come third?
I'm going to go with Halifax just 'cause I don't really want Solihull to do it. Yeah,
What do you mean? Kyle Lublin
I
in
don't
League
know.
Two.
I don't. Nah, just no. Just Halifax is a you know. I just feel like imagine seeing Halifax in League Two. That'd be mint. I'd definitely rather have Halifax
I
over
know.
Halifax.
Well, talking of moving up into League Two, let's do the same. I've just clicked off that tab and opened the League Two tab now.
Yeah,
Do things
well,
nice and professional here at the Scout
first of
House
all,
Studios.
starting at the bottom there, and that's an absolute disgrace. The fact that Scunthorpe, a former Championship club, and Oldham Athletic, a former Premier League club, have been relegated
Yeah,
into the
well,
Premier League. It's an absolute joke.
sad day for a lot of people we know as well who are Oldham fans. That is a
Yeah,
sad first,
it,
first, first ex
it's an
Premier League,
absolute
isn't it?
joke. That
First ex
club.
Premier League club, first ex Premier League club to fall out of the Football League. That is outrageous. Did it
It's an
really?
absolute. Do you know what though? As well, the absolute neglect of that club is an
Mm-hmm.
absolute joke. Like, I can't speak for Scunthorpe. I don't know the insides and out, but I feel pretty well versed in talking about Oldham. The fans, like, if you talk to anybody in League Two now, they tell you that Oldham take like one of the biggest followings away games. Because they do. They take over 1,000 each time, no problem.
Yeah.
I think there's bleeding Championship clubs that can't do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man,
So
there's a lot of every league club's like a lot of league clubs can't do that. They're such a big team as well.
Oldham fans, given how poor their performances have been, and given the horrific events of off the pitch, still, going the numbers to go and follow the club home and away. I mean, I can't credit it enough. It's fair play to him. I only hope they bounce back like ASAP because they don't deserve that.
Well,
like they really don't.
I'm not sure if it'd work out well in the end, but they're the kind of team where administration might be a way out for them because their owner is fucking horrific.
Yeah.
And sometimes administration, the -12 and you lose a lot of your players and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's for the best. Sometimes you come back better, you come back stronger because sometimes the owner's that bad that you need him out of the club. Oldham's big enough where if it got -12 in the National League, they'd get the right players in to bounce back. I'm pretty sure of that. The fans are there and they'll be okay.
I've never really been happy. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this by Oldham fans concerned, but they've, certainly, I mean, I'm 29 now, certainly in the fact that in the last 2 decades, the last 20 years, they've never been a club of any ambition. They just lingered. Really. I remember when they just had, when we were in our school days, they just generally survived League One, and that was good enough. Do you know? And they never really pushed that boundaries. That owner was Simon Corner, and they never really pushed that boundary.
For me, Oldham's biggest moments for me, and obviously this is from someone with a pretty
that one
basic perspective. Yeah, Everton and Liverpool, the FA Cup. That's all I know him for. I know more about him because I've got friends who talk to me about him, so I know some stuff about him. I've heard stuff about the protests and stuff going on at the stadium. The fucking higher ups blocking the.
That's brilliant. That one they did the other day when they all went on the pitch and just got the game delayed for time.
Well, they had to play the rest of the game behind closed doors, didn't they? Amazing. And then the CEOs and whatever, they were boarding up the stadium so the fans couldn't watch it from windows. They were boarding up all the windows so the fans couldn't watch the game. That's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. What is going on there? That's crazy. Just let the fans watch from behind the windows if you don't want them in the stadium. But fair. They did what they wanted to do.
This is why it's imperative to get this, fan ownership scheme back in place, because I saw with regards to Oldham, I saw how they wanted the supporters trust, like the Athleticos, they wanted them to create clothes so that the fans could invest in the clothing so they could put funds into the, try and get the club and stuff like that. I think it's a great idea. I remember Galatasaray doing the same thing. Is it Ultraslan or something? I can't remember the name of it, but basically the Galatasaray were in massive debt, and the ultras that sold the clothing actually bought the club through the brand of clothing that they sold.
Yeah.
To save the club from dying. Like, and obviously, if they did a similar thing with Oldham, it'd be great. Just the main thing there, though, the owner is an absolute disgrace. He needs to go. He needs to just piss off, pack your bags,
Oh yeah.
take a walk.
Yeah.
It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And I know I talk about it all the time, but these ownership models, seriously. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know how they're allowed to buy a club. I just don't. I don't understand.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's bad. It's really bad. They tried to have a bit of a revival, and John Sheridan couldn't do it. I know we got a lot of slack from Wigan fans because I talked to it in an earlier episode saying that he was terrible for us, but he does well for Oldham. Even he couldn't manage to save them this time. I know, like, even Scholes went, didn't he? And he said, like, it's a mess. I don't want to work there anymore because it's that bad. So there is definitely, it's a case of, they probably could have been saved if they had the right ownership. They wouldn't be in this position. So they're the biggest case of they probably need administration that I've ever seen. They really need to just get him out, just out him ASAP.
And just by on the side of things there, like, where's it gone wrong for Scunthorpe, though? I mean,
I don't know what.
I generally don't have a clue how this has happened. Like, this is a club, right, that was in the Championship a few years ago.
Yeah, very strange.
And I remember him. Again, this is another one of them peak and trough moments. Again, is it an ownership model? Again, I'd love to hear from somebody actually tell me what the situation is at Scunthorpe, because I just don't know. I really don't know.
But no, it's another one. There doesn't seem to be any kind of real reason. I'm not sure. Did they go through administration? I'm not. There's probably a lot of clubs under the radar. We don't even hear about that much that go through all sorts. But
I mean, it could just be the fact that you know what it's like in the lower league stages with contracts. You could end up signing like 20 players in one season. Your recruitment's poor, you get it wrong, and you're down. You could do that. But it just baffles me. That was a club that actually made it to the Championship.
Oh yeah, I remember was playing against them in League One very, very recently, like that. Yeah. We must have played against them in League One 2-3 seasons ago, like not long ago at all. And they were a good side. They had a good. I'm sure we signed 1 or 2 players from Scunthorpe as well, and it were like they're good League One players. So I can only assume bad ownership, sell players to make money. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's and go for a cheap option to place them players, and it just bump. But to be fair, mate, in League Two though, I look there and there's some quite decent side clubs in a bit of a same mess. Rochdale and Bradford stick out like a sore thumb down there. Like that's bloody hell. Well, that's bad.
Again, when you consider, we know Rochdale obviously again quite not too far. Bradford's stature. I mean, to be down there in League Two, that's not where a club like Bradford should be. Should be in the Championship or something. Somewhere they're down there. Granted, also though on the flip side of that, you've got teams like Barrow who survived from relegation. Good. So that's a really good result for
Harrogate
them.
Town. Harrogate sponsored by Harrogate. The one, it's Stevenage, isn't it? Stevenage, sponsored by Burger King.
Yeah, fair play.
That's all I know. That's all I know about Stevenage is they're sponsored by Burger King.
I wonder how that even. Is there a Stevenage fan that knows how this sponsorship even have? I always thought it'd be something daft like, guess what? You bet you never knew this. Burger King is from Stevenage, and it's like, what? It's like, sure, it's American. No, but like, there must be something to it.
Yeah,
like,
it's a strange one.
Maybe the biggest business in Stevenage is Burger King. Like all these other businesses, like Boots, Marks and Spencer, Sainsbury's, they don't do it anymore. They're not good enough. Burger King is the elite business in Stevenage. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
It's a possibility. Right. So three go up in this league is the same again, isn't it? Yeah, 3 go up. And 1 goes up through playoffs. So that means that even down to 10...
We already know that Forest Green and Exeter are promoted.
Yeah, that's done. Yeah, so that's where that's done. I think we could toss a coin with whoever wins the title. If you look at they've won the same, they've drawn the same, they've lost the same. The goal for is there's only an 8 difference, right? And then they've conceded the exact same amount, which is pretty wild. So them two toss a coin. I could separate them two.
Which stats won't tell you. Granted, yeah, fair enough. Exeter's form is better, but neither of these teams have been in league. But I don't think Forest Green Rovers have ever been in League One. I think Exeter have. They've just not been there for a while. So I don't think either team gives a shit. I think they're just both happy to be promoted. So by and large, nobody cares. because they're both happy. So let's just fuck that off. So your last automatic, and who gets promoted in the playoffs? And I think even then, there's teams on the periphery with 2 games to go. I'm looking at Swindon and Salford just lingering on the edge there. I wouldn't want Salford to get promoted. Let's make that clear. I do not want Salford to get promoted.
No.
Because you've got to. I don't want Sutton to get promoted either. Swindon, Bristol. I tell you what, Bristol Rovers getting promoted would be good. I think, given the heartache their fans have been through, and they turn out in their numbers consistently, again home and away. I think for them to get promoted would be good. Other teams
all the way down to Tranmere. Do you think Tranmere could sneak it? Tranmere, have they still got? They've not. Yeah, they have. They've got an outside chance.
No, do you know what the thing is? They've not been bad, but they're just I don't. I mean, as good as it would be. As good as it would be, which it would, I don't see that happening.
There's a massive outside chance that they'd be the odds against, wouldn't they?
I still think Salford could definitely creep into the playoffs. I know their form's dipped, but you look at some of the players they can recruit at that level is just, mental. But again, it comes down to salary, doesn't it?
You know who sticks out for me in this, like the top 9? Well, I've got another horse in this race. That one of my good friends at work is a Northampton fan, so big up Charlie. I hope that Northampton go up in the automatics for you. But the other one is Mansfield, because I'm right to remember, I'm sure they started with a very bad run, and then they went on a really good run. And is it Nigel Clough in charge of them at the minute, Mansfield? Yeah. They went on a really good run, because I still follow David Sharp, our old chairman. He took over as director of football at Mansfield, and they signed a lot of quite good players, and that's probably why they're 5th at the minute. Yeah. But they've always struck me as a bit of a small club, and if they went up, I'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I think with Mansfield, you kind of expect it because they've always been there and thereabouts with League Two, haven't they? So you kind of expect them to be there and thereabouts. I think maybe just given a bit of consistency, like you said there, they've managed to get themselves in a good position. If they got to League One, it'd be a really good achievement. I think. Do you know what though? Looking at it, I think any of those clubs, if they got to League One this season, would be a really good achievement. Because you look at the teams below them, Salford, Tranmere. Newport, these are all teams that had investment in them. So, the fact that these teams are actually doing better.
Yes, very true. From Swindon and below, as long as none of the teams from Swindon and below go up, then the 3 teams will come up. Well, 4 teams will come up. Will be 4 well-run small clubs who just rely on the fans to get them up. So go on. You can go first this time. I went first last time. Do your champion, your other 2 to go up, and then your playoff winner.
Oh, I've got just the thought of Derby playing Forest Green next season is just shit, though, isn't it? How have Forest Green got there? And shite ownership has just ruined Derby. It's just not on. It's just not on. Forest Green should not be in League One. They shouldn't. I tell you what, though, just on that subject, Exeter versus Plymouth. If Plymouth don't go up, that'd be mega. Absolutely mega. That'd be insane. Right, League One. Let's go. Yeah.
Wait, no, you've not even done it. You've not even done your thing yet. You need to do champions second.
Right. Nobody cares about champions in second. It's a foregone conclusion. Third. Gonna go Port Vale for third.
Yeah, Port Vale.
I don't know why. Because they've always been there and thereabouts, promotion, relegation, and even if they've been a threat of relegation League Two, they've always, I think.
Is it very apparent? Have you ever been to Port Vale away? I went to Port Vale away a few seasons ago, and it's the strangest. It's the strangest stadium. It's got that scaffolding on the outside that you have to kind of climb up to get into. It's so weird.
It is. It is. I've not been personally, but I've seen it, and
it's a very strange.
Port Vale and North. I'll stick with Port Vale. Just be awkward. And playoffs. Do you know? I don't want to say it's Sutton.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. For me, I'll just go Exeter to win the title for no particular reason. Northampton to come up with them with the top 2, and then playoffs. I'll go with Mansfield. I like Mansfield, but I think there's a little bit of bias creeping in because of David Sharp and what he's done there. Let's move on to League One. Oh God,
I don't think either of us has any experience to can kind of have conversations about this week, so we'll skip week 1.
I wouldn't be that bad, you know. The sweat's dripping still.
Wigan's form in the last 5.
We don't talk about that. Honestly, we don't talk about that. We like the Disney film where they don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about Wigan's form. We just don't talk about it.
Well, no, I think. No, let's start at the bottom like we have done. We'll come back to that. Now this is mint. This is so good. Like, look how many so as low as Doncaster in 23rd, Wimbledon, Gillingham, that bus stop, Morecambe. Like, anybody can get dragged into that relegation battle.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, the bus stop is Fleetwood, in case you're wondering. Yeah, like, but I'd love it if Fleetwood went down, by the way. Yeah, definitely. They can go. If Wimbledon stayed up, that'd be great.
I can't.
Well. Right.
Surely it's a gone conclusion, surely, for Doncaster and Wimbledon off goal difference, if you look at it. Doncaster especially, they need something like 30 goals.
They do. Yeah.
So I think that's ambitious, to say the least. But I would like if it was a bit closer. But yeah, they've shot themselves in the foot with that goal difference.
They've got a couple of wins recently as well, which is weird. I think one of them was against Crewe, though, to be fair, so that doesn't really count because they've had a terrible season.
And then again, though, Crewe yo-yo
what's
team.
Funny about Crewe is you'd think that, do you know, with their, like, everybody used to buzz about their youth academy, like, you'd think they'd have some consistency through their youth, unless it's just non-existent anymore and it's completely collapsed.
Their youth academy goes good 1 year, bad 1 year, good year 1 year, bad year. According to their leagues, that's what happens because they get promoted in League 2, then they're the biggest yo-yo team in the lower divisions. They're unbelievable Crewe.
Yeah.
They're always just dot between them two divisions.
Yeah. To be fair though, Doncaster,
massive club for League 2.
Yeah, again, just what the hell? And obviously Wimbledon having a new stadium built at the start of the season. I can't help but feel these financial implications as to why they've gone down. Not only mention that, when we did our they've lost their top scorer to Wrexham.
So, I know. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we brought that up. I tell you, there is hope for Wimbledon, though, because you've got to think Fleetwood. If they get, I think they've got Bolton, haven't they, or something like that. Fleetwood get trounced. You know what I mean? It only takes Fleetwood to lose 3-0, and they've only got to win 2-0 then to make a bit of a go of it. Do you know what I mean?
So
it's not a foregone conclusion.
Fleetwood's next game is away to Bolton, and as much as Bolton arguably don't have anything to play for, which they don't, they're just a better team, aren't they? So I don't know. But again, you don't know. I've seen some random results in these last few games. Honestly, Rotherham. Such a weird one.
Hey, all three. I've seen them pictures, and it just cracks me up every time I think about it. Just us, Rotherham, and MK Dons just crawling to the finish line. It's like, and then I seen someone said like, "Oh, here's a video of Wigan, Rotherham, and MK Dons trying to win the title." It just says 3 retards fighting. Like, honestly, it's just like that's exactly how it feels. Like all 3 of our forms has just kind of collapsed under the pressure. But
we should have done this earlier, but I want to go through the fixtures of the potential. So Wimbledon play Accrington at home, which I think is a perfectly winnable game for them. So I think they have a good potential of getting the 3 points. Moving on to the next one, Fleetwood playing away at Bolton. That would be tricky. Granted, given the positions and that fact that Bolton don't really have much to play for, again, Fleetwood could get a point of 3 out of that one, definitely. Going on to Gillingham. Gillingham play Rotherham.
I love that one. That's my one, mate. I love that game.
I'll tell you
it's
what.
A beautiful game, that, isn't it? I love that game. It's just the polar opposites.
That's gonna be like one of the most wanted to watch games that weekend. Like,
it will. Honestly, if Wigan had done what they were supposed to have done and just fucking batted this league title off a few weeks ago, then I would be 100% watching that game. I would be so excited to watch that game just because it's one team fighting for their lives and one team fighting to go up. It couldn't be more black and white of what both teams want to do. It'll be such an entertaining game for a neutral, not for the fans. I feel so sorry for both sets.
Yeah, no, that's true. Morecambe plays Sunderland. Against Sunderland, have plenty to play for. Obviously, the playoffs aren't settled, and there's one game to go because you've got Wickham.
I'd put in my head that Morecambe got away now. But looking at it, no, it's only a 2-goal difference between them and Gillingham. So
here's one for you: Morecambe win and Wickham
Mhm.
win, meaning Sunderland drop out of the playoffs.
yeah, that would be superb. And then again, though, Sunderland did give us a little helping hand midweek by scoring late. Well, they didn't even score the goal. Fucking Rotherham scored an own goal, but at least they got a draw against Rotherham that took a bit of pressure off us. But yeah, that would be
All
pretty
due respect,
spectacular.
nobody cares, because
Right,
at
so-
the end of the day, it'd be funnier if they just didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah,
if they
it would.
didn't make the playoffs, like it just, yeah, that'd be pretty funny. Yeah, so there's some interesting games. Granted, Lincoln are nowhere near that problem, so they're all right. Wickham, they play away to Burton, who are currently 16.
We gone to the top end of the table now.
Yeah, I've
Well,
shifted.
just quickly before we move on, then who would you say then to join Doncaster and Crewe? Who would you say to join them?
I don't want to say this. I think Wimbledon will make it.
Yeah.
And just because I want this to happen, Fleetwood.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Fleetwood get relegated, that's just superb.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go a bit different. I think Wimbledon might stay up. When I was looking at it before, I thought, Bolton and that. When you play against Bolton and they've got no pressure on, and I hate saying it, they do play nice football, and they're the kind of team where they could put 6 past you easily. So I think they might fucking stuff Fleetwood if Fleetwood are too nervous.
Do you know what
and
it is?
Think that Wimbledon might sneak it,
It's just Wimbledon. If I remember correctly, they've just drawn all their recent games.
Yeah.
Granted, some of the teams they played are pretty good, but they don't have the winning.
Yeah.
I think, they don't have the winning.
Yeah,
mentality.
it's odds against, but I think what would happen? Gillingham would have to get. Oh no, I think Gillingham. No, because they've got a better goal difference. So yeah, I think Rotherham to beat Gillingham, Fleetwood to get smashed by Bolton, and Wimbledon to just maybe win 2-0 just to sneak in. And I think that for me that would be ideal because I can't stand Gillingham, but mainly because of Steve Evans. He was the worst manager I fucking hated. I love him. I love that kind of football, but I hated the way he did it. He just shit house football, horrible, disgusting. But when your team's playing against it and he's just getting in the faces and stuff, it's hanging. But when you're doing it, it's all right.
Yeah, he's got a Scouse accent as well, which don't.
I don't like Steve Evans. He just looks like the typical fat blob, like when you look at someone and you assume like if he was somebody's boss that he'd have some kind of like the secretary would be putting in a lawsuit against him because he's trying to grope her. He just looks like that.
He defo hosts pyramid schemes, doesn't he? Or tries to sell you a finance car, just like fuck off, Muppet. I'm just looking.
No, that is 100% right. Right, we'll go to the top end of the table. We'll start with Wickham, and they're chasing them playoffs. Who did you say they've got to play?
They've got to play Burton away.
That's a tough game. That Burton are so good at home. That's a tough game.
Too fair, given the stature of Burton, fair play to them. I know they were in the Championship and they got relegated into League One, but the fact they made it there was, something. And they beat Rotherham recently as well.
They drew against us.
They did also lose to Doncaster as well.
So random. That is so random. That is so random.
That is the epitome of what the fuck. How do I bet? If you had to bet on this, if you save your life, what the fuck would you be pressing right now? Because I would have a clue.
That is a tough one.
Do you know what? I'd just go honestly. I'd just go fuck it. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die rich. Fuck it, right? Sweet.
Oh dear. But the chasing Plymouth mainly. Well, they're chasing all of them, aren't they? It's literally if Wickham win, they could catch Plymouth, Sunderland, Sheff Wednesday, really. All 3 of them are right in that mix. That playoffs is so tense. Look at the goal difference as well. There's only 2 goals between all 4. Bloody hell. That is... the sweats are on, man. Who's got the easiest game out of them? I think Sunderland have got a relatively easy game. Oh, no, the away at Portsmouth.
Sunderland played Gillingham, which I think given the gravity.
No, they don't. I'm sure they play. Rotherham play Gillingham.
Oh, sorry. No, pardon me. Sorry. Morecambe plays Sunderland.
Right,
so, yeah. And Morecambe aren't technically out of that problem.
Yeah, so they have got something to play for.
The thing is as well, Morecambe's goal difference is shocking. So, like, generally speaking, Morecambe could really do with a win. For it just to rubber stamp their secure, status, if you
Oh
like.
yeah. Well, rubber stamping things, mate. You don't have to talk to me about that. Like, I've just been waiting for Wigan to rubber stamp the promotion for fucking weeks.
I know I sound cliche maybe, but Wigan will definitely be automatic promotion. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Well, I keep saying this. I've said it on Twitter a few times. Like, we have to lose by a 3 or 4 goal margin, and MK Dons have to go away at Plymouth and score 4. And the thing is, Plymouth haven't even conceded a goal at home in the last 7. So part of me is like that, but there's always that part, man. There's always that little thing where you just go, "What if it happens?" Though, you just let a little seed of doubt in your head. It's so great.
The point you made there, Plymouth at home recently have just been undeniable. They've been so formidable, and not only that as well. Plymouth need that win to secure their playoff status.
Exactly.
So it just, I think, even if Wigan, let's say Wigan lose like 2-0 in the last game of the season, I still just don't see how Wigan fall out of that automatics. It's a foregone conclusion for me. I think Wigan are promoted. Did they win as champions? Yeah. I mean, they play Shrewsbury away, but I think given Shrewsbury, obviously they had such a terrible start to the season. But yeah, no, I think they're fine.
You know what's a weird one for me? Like, all season, I think we'll do like a season wrap up for Wigan maybe next week or whatever. But the weird one for me is I remember at the start of the season, like, every time we'd lose, I was right. Someone say like, "Oh, what's going on there?" But like, we've been playing shit. That's what's going on. We've not played well for ages, and we went on for a while where we just played terrible. And I was like, "How are we still in the playoffs at the time?" I think it was. And then we went on a really good run. And I was like, "Hang on, we're playing well now." And then we went into the top 2 and thought we're doing pretty good now. Like, fair enough. And then we've got an absolute diabolical run again. It's like, how the fuck are we in the top 2 now? Like, it's just been a crazy season. But
I think
we're there for a reason.
I think that's testament to a good league, though. If you're running away with a league, it means no one's at your level. Would you want to be in a league where you like PSG and you just piss it every week?
Yeah,
nah. The fact that Wigan have lost 8 games and Rotherham have lost 10, and yet they found themselves first and second respectively is good. It means it means that Doncaster could go to Rotherham and win.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's the beauty of it. Did that actually happen? I don't know. It probably didn't. But it just that's the beauty of the league. So if in reality that's what makes this last game of the season so good, because we wouldn't do a podcast like this if it wasn't, because you just basically be like, well, what's the fucking point? It's a foregone conclusion. So,
I'll tell you one of the things I was looking at. I'm just looking at it now. I remember working out the other day, and I had someone say like, "Oh, there needs to be a 6-goal swing." I was like, "No, it's a 7-goal because even though we've got the same goal difference as even though we've got a similar goal difference, something like that, we'd have a better goal difference. But even if there was a 6-goal difference, it'd mean that they're on the same goal difference as us." We've still scored more. We're the top goal scorers this season with 79, which is pretty impressive. I thought we were better at defending than we are at attacking, but we've actually got the best attack in the league, apparently. I didn't really know.
You've also got the best goal scorer in Will Keane.
Well, yeah, at the minute, going for that golden boot, which is an interesting race all on its own. Ross Stewart and Will Keane joint neck and neck at the minute going into the last game. So
I think for another podcast, what I want to ask you is about how this squad manages in, let's just say you made no signings, which you will, but how this squad manages in Championship.
Yeah, well, I've so, you know what? I've got so many tweets to put out once we're up. I've been waiting for a squad because I've got so many things to say about us going up and who we keep and who will do it at a high level and rubbing it in Sunderland's face and just laughing at other teams. I've got so much of that.
Just for my curiosity, you need to ask people if they know about the situation regarding Dover and Scunthorpe, because that is just a mystery to me. Like, I generally don't have a clue what's happened there. Like, granted, Dover's definitely seems like financial problems because I've had points deducted. Scunthorpe, oh my God, I don't know what's happened there. Like, that's just awful. I just feel sorry for him. But yeah,
I feel sorry for him.
Right. Anyway, we're talking too much again. So my team to win League One would be Wigan, followed by Rotherham. Rotherham will finish second. And teams go up via the playoffs. Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much identical for me, really. I'd say Liam Richardson, Manager of the Year, big shout out. Whoop, whoop. We also won CEO of the Year, which I didn't know was a thing. Mal Brannigan won that, which is fair enough. Hopefully, Wilkie will win Golden Boot, which is another plus.
People listening to this thinking, why have you not done this much in-depth analysis about National League and League Two? So you're not allowed to make comments like this.
But yeah, well, strike me down now, but I do think we'll win tomorrow. I think I'm nervous. I think a lot of fans are, and I'm kind of laughing already at like, ha ha ha, look at how terrible it'd be if we lost, just to give myself that safety net. But I think we'll win. I think Shrewsbury, if we score first, I think they'll kind of be like, yeah, it's the last game of the season, let's just piss around. Like, I don't know. They're really not playing for anything. And the difference is we've played a lot of teams who've not been playing for anything, but they've had good quality.
I think the only thing I would say about Shrewsbury was Rotherham just got undeniable, and then Shrewsbury turned up.
Well, they went on a really good run, didn't they? Well, that's what I'm thinking. That I'm thinking, well, if that kind of Shrewsbury turn up, then that's worrying. But what I'm hoping for is a Shrewsbury with kind of half an eye on their holidays. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that intensity drops off eventually for a lot of teams, and they just kind of like, yeah. But I said that, and it fucking backfired because every team we've played who've had nothing to play for fucking spanked us. So it's a tough one. But I think the teams we've been beat by in that situation have just had that quality, like Portsmouth and Ipswich have just got that bit of quality, especially Ipswich. That seems a joke. Like, biggest shout out for the biggest failures of the season, Ipswich are number one. They're the Ed Kemper. Ipswich are the Ed Kemper. They are the Ed Kemper of the League One. Like, they're massive, big club, big 6'9" club. They should have had more kills, i.e. more wins. They've been pathetic. Like, their squad is a joke. It's a joke, their squad. Like, honestly, like, they were giving us stick, and it's like, terrible.
You've started something I want to carry on a theme here. Biggest letdowns of each league. So if we're saying Ipswich for League One, I can agree with that. That's fine. Probably Charlton as well. Charlton being 12th is an absolute disgrace.
No, because the thing is with Charlton, they're in their new owner, because you got to remember they went through a bit of a rough patch, and their new owner, he signed some players, but nowhere near to the extent of Ipswich. Ipswich, their team is an absolute joke. Like, honestly, when we played them, I was like, hang on, I had a look at the team and I thought, fuck me. Like, there were some players where I thought, like, they're not great, but they've got our old captain from the Championship, Sam Morsey, and Lee Evans, centre mid. That's a Championship centre mid. They've got, what's he called? Selena. That's definitely a champion. He was playing like Liga football or something, like a top division football. Like, you know, the one from City who scored a world-class goal against City. He's an amazing player, and he's in League One with Ipswich. They've got our old keeper who's Championship level, and I was just like, what is this team? And they're 11th.
It's not me ranting now, by the way.
Honestly, you know what it was? I saw so many Ipswich fans when we slipped up against them giving us stick, and I thought, like, you're the most pathetic team in this league, realistically. Like, you've done awful this season. Like, I don't think anyone, including our owner, expected us to be top. 100%. He said 5 years and we'll get up from League One. We're 5 years ahead. He weren't expecting us to do this well.
No doubt. I think the purchase of the club by a good owner has definitely helped. I think, you know, solidifying contracts as well, not just 1 year, 2 year, but giving them good contracts to keep them at the club has been good. Getting rid of some of the Deadwood players has definitely helped. I think Wigan's situation, you know, I think people are quick to forget how desperate it was with the amount of youth players that were in the first team.
It was bad, isn't it? You know what? I've seen some terrible. I've seen some Wigan fans, not in a bad way, not like they weren't saying anything bad, but I've seen a lot of Wigan fans saying like, "Oh, look, remember when we wanted this owner instead?" And I'm like, well, we wanted anybody. But at the time, like Talal, he came out of nowhere. There was no... Alan Nixon's good at league stuff. He knows when an owner that with Bolton or... with Bolton or Derby, he's always like, oh, there's this guy interested in this... There was never even a hint. He never once said there's a Bahraini investor interested. No one even knew who Talal was. There was nothing in the wind. And it was all these like Smurthwaite and fucking hell, who's he called? Someone else, like really corrupt owners, and a few desperate Wigan fans are like, we'll take anything at the minute. Like, these people have ran clubs into the ground, and like I think one of them ran was it Port Vale, I think, into the ground and put them into admin. Or that Smurthwaite is a horrible owner. But we really wanted anybody who'd look at us. And then all of a sudden, fucking Tar came with his cap and went, boom, there you go. I'll take you. And it was like, wow. So we were desperate, but
Yeah.
Ipswich flops the season. For my League Two flop of the season, I'll go with Scunthorpe because I don't know if they've been in admin.
You're a joke. Why have you picked them? That's just mean.
I know. I won't be mean. All right, Bradford then. They're going off the club side.
That's rude as well because you know how poor it's if it's not Salford,
do you want me to say Salford?
Yeah, if it's not Salford, that the amount of money they've invested to be in ninth. Salford.
Oh God! I thought football was a game of opinions. I gave an opinion. No.
Yeah, no, it's not. No, we don't. Without knowing the full situation of a football club, it's very hard to. But we know full well Salford has got players on high contracts. They're paying their players well. True. So we know that for a fact. Without knowing the situation, it could be that Scunthorpe are just a joke. They might just play shite and they might deserve to be there. Personally, I think there's more to it. I think a club of Scunthorpe, given how well they've done in recent years, to then just collapse is just. There's got to be something. There's just a gut feeling there that something's wrong. No, if you want to pick Scunthorpe, that's fine.
I mean, they're rock bottom. But you're right.
Given in mind that Salford are offering players the salaries of League One clubs and stuff, then yeah, definitely.
No, right. To be fair, if I'm going to slag off Ipswich for the same thing, then it's only fair that I slag off Salford for the same as well. Actually, yeah, no, there would be Salford really.
Do you know what? I'm going to disagree with you on my League One joke club. I'm going to go with Fleetwood.
Just stay Fleetwood.
Yeah. Basically, they just they were pushing for promoting the playoffs for many years, and they just collapsed. Yeah. So fair play. The Bus Stoppers won that award for me in League One. League Two, National Barnet. I don't know the situation, but I think Barnet.
Yeah, I was going to say Barnet. 18th. I was going to say Barnet, or I was going to say Dover. 0 points if they end on.
They've had financial problems. They've got loads of kids, right? That's just.
They are on 0. If they can end the season on more than 0 points, I'll give it to them. But if they end the season on 0 points,
we've asked for people to tell us the situation at Dover. They're not going to want to do it now. Because there's one despicable club in that league.
Oh my God! Right, no, yeah, and I think.
Barnet, though, seriously, you've played league football. You actually played well at league football, and you're 18th in the National League. Again, is there an underlying issue there? I don't know. If there is, tell me. Yeah. Tweet us or something. I don't care. But I would like to know. But yeah, no, that's just so. But Yeovil as well, though, being mid-table in in the National League, that's just so odd. They were Championship at one point. They're in the despicable list, to be honest. But there we go. Again, if there's something there, tell me. I don't think there is. I remember him having Gary Johnson's.
Let's do the League One then. Right, you wanted Wigan title, didn't you? Rotherham to come up with us.
Wigan title, Rotherham to come up in Sheffield Wednesday playoffs.
Right, yeah. No, I agree with that. Then our final one is Championship.
Oh, Championship, yeah. Oh, yeah, we've done relegation, didn't we?
Yeah, we did relegation before.
You have to start with Derby, don't you, really, for the Championship. The absolute disgrace of the ownership model has just turned a big club into a club that's going to be 2 divisions below where I think it should be anyway, which is just wrong. I wanted to say that Neil Warnock made a really good point about this, and I don't really agree with much of what he says, but he made Wayne Rooney probably had one of the easiest manager jobs in the fact that if they lost, it was expected. If they won, it was a bonus. Yeah. So I think from a manager position, I don't think anybody could deny that Wayne Rooney did do really well to turn the deficit around. I mean, they did quite well. I mean, form-wise, they got 13 wins. I think. Theoretically, they'd be on about 51 points, which is about 17th, 18th.
Yeah, it's not. It wouldn't be an amazing season, but again,
21. So they would have been on 52.
Yeah,
so 52, which would have put them 17th. Which, to be fair, given the amount of youth players they played in the team, would have been a great result. But yeah, no, such a shame. So that's. That's unfortunate. Peterborough going down again. They're such a yo-yo club, though, aren't they? Barnsley and Peterborough. Sorry to mention it, but they are yo-yo clubs of those divisions.
I'll say my joke club for the Championship is fucking Barnsley. Go on, enjoy League One, you fucking scum.
Take it. You don't like them.
I can't stand it, mate. They rain on our parade. I can't be happier about a club. If another club went into administration, though, I won't even say it against the worst enemy. I fucking can't stand Barnsley. Now, I won't even be that angry, but honestly, I really hope they demise and end up in the National League. They just fucking... You know what it was? They just rained on our parade, man. They just rubbed it in our face so much about going into administration. They just fucking loved it. And then they just about stayed up. On the last day of the season, they stayed up because we went through administration. And then they just fucking celebrated as if they'd pulled something out of the bag, like the great escape. And it's like, you've not done anything. You technically relegate, but another club's gone through a mismatch. And then even their players giving a bit of like shit. And it's like, what are you doing? Why are you jumping on our grave here? Like, imagine like Reading going mental about Derby and just going mad about our, like rubbing it in Derby's face. Like Derby fans would just hate Reading. And then just other things like when we appealed our administration, they asked to be in the room and then asked Wigan to pay for them to be in the room to kind of say no, nobody should be able to appeal this administration. Like, they were a joke of a club. Like, honest to God, like I was so happy that they had such an embarrassing season, and it is an embarrassing season. They were going for playoffs last season, and now the rock bottom below two clubs who've gone through, like, you know, who've had points deducted. They're below two of them, not one, two clubs who've gone through that. Yeah. And they just, the fact that they rubbed it in our face makes me so happy to see that we're probably swapping leagues.
They lost Alex Mowat to the club I'm going to call my joke of the season, which is West Brom in 13th. You know, Alex Mowat was a big player for Barnsley. He went to West Brom. West Brom have been absolutely shite this season. 15 losses with a club that has a wage salary of like the Premier League and just the, you know, their demand. Don't get me wrong, I've been to West Brom away. It's a good away day. You know, it's a good club, but mid-table this season.
Yeah, it's poor. That is poor.
That's shocking. That.
Oh yeah, I think if I didn't hate Barnsley so much, I'd probably go with West Brom. But Barnsley
to be honest, if I put my stubborn head on, I'd probably go with Stoke, given how, you know, their revenues have been, you know,
true.
Losing money left, right, and centre. You know.
I'd say about this league is this is probably an easier league to talk about, really. Apart from the last playoff place, I suppose
it's like nobody wants it. Honestly, yeah. I've seen Sheffield United, I've seen Middlesbrough, I've seen Blackburn in recent times, and this is why I can definitely understand why you're vouching for someone like Millwall to actually steal it.
Yeah,
because I've seen how shite Sheffield United, Middlesbrough, and Blackburn have played recently. Like, do you know what I think it is? I think the pressure gets to them, and they don't play to their actual ability.
Yeah, but they do at Wigan. That's exactly what's happened. It's exactly what's happened to Wigan. That. Millwall in the Premier League, though, that would be so good. I'd love Millwall in the Premier League.
Nah, I'm not really a fan of it. If I had to pick out them, I'd actually want Blackburn back because you always get a bigger allocation at an away game. So getting Blackburn back in the Premier League would be my kind of pick. Granted, United always had terrible times against Blackburn away because of Brad Friedel, the big bold twat. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I actually want that to happen because I just feel like we get the same treatment. Nah. Blackburn, I'd love. But just look at that automatic playoff. Fulham in the Premier League again, and AFC Bournemouth.
Boring. I've never wanted a team to pip someone to the post more than I want Nottingham Forest to come second.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
I want Forest up. Forest is such a big historical club. I want Forest in the back of the Premier League so bad. Can
I just say, Bournemouth's achievements, by the way, are incredible. Given the position of nearly financial collapse in League Two, to get into the Premier League is something special. But they're just a boring club, aren't they? Their fans are shit. You know, going down all the way down the mouse and bleeding down south just to go to a boring football club with boring supporters. It just doesn't appeal to me. So no, getting Nottingham Forest in the Premier League would be mint. Yeah. So absolutely. Even then, Huddersfield, that'd be mint. Luton. That'd be Luton in the Premier League.
Is Luton? I think Luton. Is it Luton who've got the away stand where you've got to go through somebody's house to get into it? I've heard it a million times, but it's so hilarious. Every time you hear that,
it's incredible. It's so old school, that, isn't it? Like, it's such a, you know, Thatcher's Britain kind of stand in it, like just mental, absolutely mental. Yeah, it's a bit. Sorry, everybody's thinking like, what the fuck's he on about? It's like Victorian, but yeah, it goes back a bit further. But yeah, proper Brexit stand, love it.
Our kind of it really is as well. I forgot about that as well. It's where everyone's like Tommy Robinson and all of them are from Luton, aren't they?
Oh well, fuck him. Yeah, to be honest, anybody, just Bournemouth and Fulham, though, the two teams you just don't want in the Premier League are going to be in the Premier League. Granted, any of them other ones, Nottingham Forest, Huddersfield, Luton, Sheffield United, Middlesbrough, Blackburn, and Millwall, I would have back in the Premier League in a heartbeat. So, yeah, you win all your games and just get back in the Premier League, whoever does it. Just special shout out to Coventry, though, as well, given what they've been through
good season,
in recent years. Incredible.
Really.
I know they were pushing for playoffs earlier. I know they've dipped in form, but just given what they've been through in recent years, they should be in a relegation zone. Given what they've been through,
big time.
And their mid-table is just mental. I actually, hats off to him. That's incredible. So
yeah.
And
Coventry and Coventry, Luton, and a few others give me hope for next season. Like thinking if they can do it, then we surely should be able to.
Yeah. Their owner Caesar again. He's another leech, and I mean, Coventry ended up playing at Birmingham's ground because they didn't get ownership of their own ground. I mean, that's a disgrace. Again, ownership models again shocking. So I do hope that they get their club back and it gets fan owned because they're a massive club. Let's say Coventry got like a League Cup final at Wembley, they take 40,000 there, no problem.
Oh yeah, massive.
They take 40,000 there, no problem. So yeah, I'd love it for them to fuck off their owner and actually, at some point get promoted to the Premier League, which is, where they've been in the past. So yeah. So sorry, relegation is already sealed, so don't need to go any further with that. Playoffs and promotion, we know Fulham are promoted, which is shite. Hallelujah, no one cares. Bournemouth, oh god, the thing is that there's still 3 games to go in this, so I'm going to be that arsehole, right? So no offense to Bournemouth, I just think you're boring. I think you probably
boring.
you probably got nice people, but I remember when you came to Old Trafford and you're just boring. You just sit down. I've never known a club. I've only seen 2 clubs sit down in the away end at Old Trafford. It was West Brom and it was Bournemouth. So no.
Should you say Boringmouth?
But oh god, right. That's the end of the podcast. Thank you for listening.
I couldn't.
Let me gather my composure after that shit mess. Right. Basically, Bournemouth. Nah, come on, man. No, you're not allowed in the Premier League. Go away. Forest automatics. Yeah, absolutely. Get in the Premier League. That'd be incredible. And given a club that's got so much history, with such a good fan base, and just you guaranteed a team that's ready for a Premier League adventure. So yeah, definitely get them back in the Premier League. Automatics for them. Playoffs, obviously that would mean Bournemouth in the playoffs. I'm just going to say no to them. So I'm going to say Huddersfield. I think their form is just amazing. How is Jonathan Hogg still going? By the way, he seems to have been around for like decades.
No, mate, I know it's crazy, isn't it? I seen him play. Yeah, same as Jordan Rhodes as well. Jordan Rhodes seems to have been a striker for about 4 million years. Remember when he scored like 30 odd goals in the League One? And I was like, it's lifetime ago.
Do you know what's funny? Is I actually think Jonathan Hogg goes for drinks in Wetherspoons in Huddersfield. Now, for those people that don't know Wetherspoons in Huddersfield, we're from Greater Manchester, and Huddersfield Spoons is one of the weirdest places I've ever set foot in my life. Like, I saw somebody get smacked out at like 10:30 in the morning in Huddersfield, and it was in that pub. I was just having a breakfast and someone was getting swapped about, and it was like 2 50-odd-year-old men as well. It was funny, but it's just a weird place. It's got a place in my mind forever though. But yeah, no. Huddersfield playoffs. No commiserations to Stoke or West Brom. You shit. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'll listen to yours. Sorry, mate.
Champions Fulham, obviously, still boring. Like you said, Bournemouth boring. Don't want that. Nottingham to go up. I fancy that. I do fancy that. Good form. They're not going to. Bournemouth are in that horrible position where two teams are chasing them, and two teams could easily catch them, and I think they could easily bottle it. And I fancy them to do that. And then playoffs. I just want Luton. I'd love a club the size of Luton to be in the Premier League. They're so small. They're so insignificant. I don't think they've ever done anything really. I can't think of Luton doing anything football-wise. So have them in the Premier League would be magic. And biggest shout out to Barnsley. Fuck off and die. You hear that again, Barnsley? Fuck off. Enjoy League One, you scummy little horrible team. Thank you.
I'd like to remind you that this podcast is not biased in any way, shape, or form.
No.
Yeah, to be honest, I was saying the same thing about Sunderland. If they fuck up the playoffs, I'll be absolutely delighted. Get fucked. I hope you rot. I hope you get relegated to the National North and get slapped by Gateshead, you fucking dicks. Anyway, that'd be their new derby. Actually, Gateshead. That'd be incredible if their new derby was Gateshead rather than Newcastle. Oh my god,
that would be some do that. What me? Oh, dear me.
This podcast is not biased in any way.
No, mate.
Never mind. Do you know there's people listening to this thinking, "Yeah, United is shit. What are you laughing about?" Well, I can laugh at
I'm not sure if people would be still listening. This is the longest I think we've ever done in one go. 1 hour and 35 we've been talking to, and I do not. As anyone might find out, I do not edit shit. I've been saying that to Carl. I've been keep trying to tell him, when you do come on, act like it's live because I will not edit anything bad you say. I will just throw it straight in because I cannot be bothered.
Come at us, cancel culture. Come at us because, after certain comments in this podcast, if you did cancel us, I'd understand.
Elon Musk isn't going to cancel us anymore. He's going to lead us to glory. I'll probably bring it up more next week when he does more and more outrageous stuff. It's just... It's a weird world we're living in. I'll say that.
Anyway, that's for another podcast. So there are predictions, our summaries. They're just opinions, so please don't be offended or kick off if you don't like them. Nobody cares.
We've only got 2 more for season 1 now because we have a little break whilst we go on holiday and stuff.
Well, my plan for the next bit. So obviously I'll be on holiday. Because we do these on Friday nights, really, but I'll be in abroad
next Friday.
But my plan. So hear me out. My plan for the next 2. We'll probably do a podcast to summarize the season. Maybe I think that'd be good. But 2 podcast ideas I want to bring to the forefront. First of all, was rate out of 10 in recent years. Technological and rule changes in football. For example, VAR, goal line technology, 5 substitutions a game. I think that'd be a good podcast because what I'd like to hear is like other people's opinions because I think they'll be completely different to mine. But like just getting their opinions.
Oh shit! Bloody hell! I'll just end this here because we cancelled last week. I ran a poll and it's probably the biggest reaction we've had to anything. We were supposed to do an episode last week. We will probably redo and maybe do it in season 2 where it was doing unpopular opinions, which I thought would have been a great one. But this one seemed more current because all the big games are tomorrow. So this seemed better to do this week. We ran a poll, and I ran a poll off the Twitter to say out of the things to happen outside of the football pitch, what's the biggest thing to happen? Through administration. And the options were for Wigan fans. It was signing Jack Watmough. What was the other one? It was somewhat stupid. Like there were 3 of them that were stupid. Oh, but anyway, the third option, the winner.
I think I know where this is going. Yeah, I think I saw this. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Right, the winner was the DBTKK being outed as a nonce, which is literally the funniest part of the whole administration. Like it just happened out of nowhere. I would genuinely like. I don't want to take any kind of thing, but I remember being one of the.
Can you just, for those people that don't support Wigan, just abbreviate what DDTK is?
I mean, I don't know what that stands for, but I'm assuming it was. I think it was Danny Brady. He was called Dan Brady or something. I don't know if he was a Wigan fan, but he was all over Wigan, and he was pretending like to be a Wigan fan, and he was just, like, don't get me wrong, like some of the stuff he said, like it was funny now and again, like he's just brutal to people, like whatever you could say, like, oh, I've just found out I've got cancer or something, and he'd jump on it and say something horrible back. That's how bad he was. Anything, and he'd just go over the top, and so I like dark humour. So now and again, not cancer or anything, but sometimes it'd make me laugh. Like he would. He's just that kind of person where a bit of a troll, real bad troll. His picture was just hidden, blah, 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 blah. And he horrible bastard. And it's as if he picked on the wrong guy, this Wigan fan. And I remember commenting at the time, like, so I can't remember what I said, but I'm probably one of the first people thinking, like, nah, this can't be real. And this guy commented on Twitter one day saying, 11 o'clock tonight, I'm out in Danny Brady, DBTKK, right? And this guy, man, wow. He like, I've never seen so much come out and come out and come out. Now, the first thing was this guy who said he's going to out him came out and said, oh, I'm this, I'm that, and I like to message blah, 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 girls, this. And it was just him being a creep, right? So at first it was basically being a creep, and then it was him being a creep to young girls. Then it came out that he was talking to super young girls. Then it was him talking to young girls and sending pictures of himself wearing knickers to them. It was just more and more and more stuff come out. But when you're on Twitter on one of them nights and that kind of stuff happens, you know what it's like. It just rolls and rolls and it just explodes. And it must have been the most chaotic couple of hours I've seen on Twitter. It was mental. It was hilarious, but the amount of stuff though, mate, he was like, I remember one of them, he tweeted to some goalkeeper who was a girl, and she must have been probably 16, 17. I don't even know who she was, but he said something like, oh, when you're next playing, I'd love to see your tits jiggle in your top and stuff like that. It was yeah, mate, this guy, it was so bad. And he pestered, like, must have been like 200 girls. It was every girl on Twitter seemed to come out and like, he pestered me as well. Like, the Me Too movement. It was like that, but for him. Yeah, it was years ago. It was like years ago now, but
I'll keep waiting. I'll tell you what there is. I think across the football community, whether you like each other or not, I think there is just an extreme joy of outing nonsense. Just outing. I don't know why. Football is so much of a comparison to outing nonsense. I think it's just because Man City breed them. But it's just I think the fact that there's just such, I don't know what it is with football fans.
I'll tell you what. There's a good. All I'll say about football and out in nonsense. There's a very, very good reason that the Vatican don't have an international football team. Mate.
Oh God!
That would be every week, mate. Jesus Christ! Was it? Do you remember when the Pope something came out and said only 2% have been done for paedophilia, and it ended up someone did the maths. It was like 8,000 pedos. You were like Catholic priests, like, hey, nice one. Not that bad then.
If you're a Catholic, you get your pitchfork out and get to DJ's address. Get him killed.
Mate, I'm over the age of 16. They'll have no interest in me.
Oh God, we're so screwed.
That's what the choir boy says.
Right, anyway, we're going off on one, but you've done it again. You've gone from murderers to paedophiles. Like, just why do you do this? It's a bleeding football podcast, and you're more interested in talking about murderers and rapists. Like, just chill.
No, it was because of the poll. It was the poll that brought
it. To be fair, yeah. But
I feel like if we're going to ask opinions, we need to start reading them out, don't we? So
yeah. I mean, to be fair, we did ask a poll, and quite a few people did get back to that poll, and quite clearly, 45%. It wasn't even close as well. The resounding answer was him being outed as a nonce as well. I remember seeing that.
I sat down laughing my head off at the results. Me, I was like, so Wigan fans are more interested in some guy being outed as a nonce than Jack Watmo signing for the club, who's probably our player of the year.
Jack Watman, by the way, has just been incredible this season for Wigan. But we finding out about him being an absolute turbo nonce was definitely better. That's funny. That I can't not laugh at that. Right, yeah. So going back to what I was saying, yeah. So ideas for the podcast coming up. I want to know kind of get like ratings out of 10 for the changes in football with regards to technology and rules. And obviously technology, VAR, goal line technology. With regards to rules, like the 5 substitutions, the concussion rule, there'll be more that I think of, or maybe you think of, that we put in there in a bit. And the other one was to scout like a player who's had a great season, who's not been talked about. Because I think because we everybody knows how good, say, I don't know, Kevin De Bruyne has been this season. Everybody knows, like certain, but Wigan fans will all know how good Will Keane's been this season. It's just that kind of thing. But what I want to do is a podcast based around basically like who's a player,
unsung heroes.
Exactly. I don't mean loads. I just mean one. Because then you can spend a lot of time kind of just scouting, which is what the fucking podcast is called.
I had such different ideas. I had such different ideas for this podcast, and then we started doing it, and I thought, I just love chatting shit every Friday. I love it so much. I look forward to doing it, mate. I just love coming on, chatting shit, and then it's like you get something off your chest. It's like a therapy session.
But yeah, I basically just want to do basically like a summary of one player of your choice. I'd say keep it to English football, because there will be some fans that do see these players and they think, how, and they're probably like, yeah, why the fuck have you not talked about this player? He's mint, like, so that's the kind of player I'm thinking of. But you'll have to let me know before you pick, because if we pick the same fucking player, then it's going to be a problem.
Doesn't work. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so
sounds good. Yeah, let's wrap it up. We've been here for ages now. Jesus.
Yeah, this is a long one. So Joey, you got your wish, mate. So yeah, I know. I didn't rant as much. I apologise. I'll rant more. I'll swear more in the future. I promise. I'll take the piss out of someone that's dead as well in the future. Yeah, sorry, mate. I didn't do that enough this week. Sorry about that. Part of it, no, I think those two ideas definitely, whether we get a podcast in before we go away, I don't know. We'll just have to see.
This might be the last one, but if it's the last one, this is like it's an extended special.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, it'd be good to wrap the football season up as well.
Yeah, I think if we could maybe if we could do one like if you go away on the Friday, maybe we could try and nip one in on like a Wednesday or something, maybe.
Yeah, well, I actually go Thursday morning, so Wednesday I'll be packing my bags, I think. But yeah, well, either way, people.
Yeah, we'll try. We'll see what happens.
Conversation. Right. Yeah, no, that's fine. We'll figure something out. But my only request from this podcast is if anybody does know about the situations with regards to Dover Athletic and Scunthorpe United, please get in contact with the Twitter page. We'll put. Well, I'll ask DJ to put something out to ask what's happened to those clubs this season. If anybody can get back to us, that's great. And just we'll do more random Twitter polls. We'll try and avoid things that involve crimes of minimum of 25-year sentences. That's probably not me; it's for DJ. But yeah, no, that's it for me. If you got anything to
no, mate, no, that was good. I've enjoyed it. This has been probably my most enjoyable one so far. I think that getting that hype up early on at the start of that podcast, I think it's got us going. I think we've really made a nice little episode there. Long, really but I think it was good. That
it really is amazing when a football podcast talks about football and not politics, and this is what happens. So let that be a lesson to you. It's got to remember the first one we did, and it was bleeding the Russia-Ukraine war. Oh my god!
So that's what people wanted, though. That's our highest viewed one. That so far.
Is it?
Yeah, actually, it is. Yeah, exactly. Oh well, never mind.
Yeah, maybe
let's go. Let's get out.
We'll just stick to politics and fuck football off.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Right, let's wrap it up. Thank you.
Yeah,
see you next time. Might be a week.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Thank you for listening to Radio 202. See you later. See you in a bit, mate. Bye.